a prop gun with you when you're meeting with another ASAP.
I don't think he brought it just
Motion to strike is non-responsive.
Stop yelling.
I'm sorry, Ron?
Stop your yelling.
Motion to strike.
You could just make the motion and state the reason. You don't have to yell. Now, what was the objection?
A prop gun, not to protect himself against individuals who knew that he carried a prop gun, but to protect himself against individuals he did not know, like home invaders, stalkers, violent people, correct?
It was just to fight off any type of violence that could come from not any specific place.
And when you say fight off,
Deter from violence.
meaning pull a fake gun out of your pocket.
Lower the volume.
Jesus Christ, great.
Pull a fake gun out of your pocket. And that's what you mean by fighting off?
I mean, it was there to deter violence. So if he was in a situation where he was going to be harmed, it could be there something possibly to calm things down and safely get him out of a bad situation.
Would you agree that just as likely would be you pull that prop gun and the person you pull it on pulls a real gun and shoots you?
I can't speak on that. I mean, it's...
Let me ask you this, sir. It's your position that everybody around the defendant knew that he carried a prop gun, correct?
His close friends, yes.
And you have heard testimony that Relly was aware that he carried a prop gun, correct?
I didn't hear any other testimony.
I want you to assume that there's been testimony in this case by the defense that Relly was aware that it was a prop gun that the defendant was carrying. I want you to assume that. Would you agree that if Relly knew that the gun was a prop gun, that it would not offer any deterrent if it were pulled on him because he would know it was fake?
I can't speak to the state of mind of the situation.
Listen to me. I'm not asking you, I'm saying anybody. I want you to assume for a moment, I'll give you, do it in hypothetical terms, all right? I want you to assume that the individual who is pulling the prop gun is pulling it against somebody who knows that it is a prop gun. Would you agree that the only value of a prop gun is if you could scare or intimidate somebody into thinking that it is real?
No, I wouldn't agree with that.
I mean, it all depends. Everything depends. The story that Relly tells versus what 12 tells are two different stories. When your man 12 says that, hey, he said, put away that fake gun and all that and everything, and ASAP Rocky is trying to convince him that it's real and shoots it. It doesn't really, the prop story is kind of falling on his face in my opinion, but there's certain things that the prosecution is doing where I said it, and there's a bunch of lawyers who agree, which means great minds think alike, where we all, and everybody that I've seen come up with this conclusion, this is on the defense to lose, because the prosecution can't prove anything. He's very unlikable, cuz keep on yelling every single chance he gets. So let's just get into it. It's a longer video, man. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon. Check it out. Let's get y'all caught up before court starts.
Information he conveyed to us in August of 2024. In omission, we only realized after Mr. Phillips was asked questions about the prop gun's whereabouts on Friday. Accordingly, we met with Mr. Levin today, who reiterated the following information that he conveyed previously. Mr. Levin was involved in the decision-making with Rocky, for Rocky not to carry the prop gun after November 6th of 2021, because it did not serve its intended purpose of acting as a deterrent. Consequently, Mr. Levin took possession of the prop gun after November 6th of 2021, and subsequently contacted a co-writer / co-director on the DMB music video from which it was obtained in order to make arrangements to return it while in New York. In that regard, Mr. Levin met at the Roxy Hotel in New York with the co-writer / co-director and gave him the prop gun and accompanying accessories. Mr. Levin is prepared to provide you, the prosecutors, with the name and contact information for the co-writer / co-director, and also to meet with you tomorrow at 9:30. This is late discovery. Without casting any aspersions, I am not accepting the
Prosecution.
Who is that? What was that noise?
I opened my laptop and it The sound came out. Sorry.
Oh, discovery. Without casting any aspersions, I am not accepting the.
Prosecution.
Sorry.
Who was that? What was that noise?
I opened my laptop and the sound came out. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I'm not accepting that it was inadvertent. There is a summary that was provided by the defense to the prosecution as required by Penal Code Section 1054, and it lists a number of areas that Mr. Levin is going to be testifying about. There is no mention in the summary about him taking possession of the prop gun and what he did with it after. Now, there's a case called People versus Jackson. That site is 15 Cal Ave Court, 1197. In this case, the court completely precluded defense witnesses, a defense witness. Because here, I'm going to quote from the case. Here, because the testimony was allegedly exculpatory, the trial court refused to believe defense counsel did not seriously consider calling the witness until moments before he did. Even if withholding the identity of the witness was not willful, lesser sanctions would not have been adequate. Immediate disclosure or contempt of counsel would have been insufficient because the people would not have had a meaningful opportunity to rebut or impeach the statement. Similarly, a continuance would have been inadequate because the declarant's whereabouts were unknown, and thus her unavailability precluded the people from cross-examining her. The defense case would be prejudiced. But then I'm also concerned about prejudice to the people because this came late in the game. So this is the way I thought it could be remedied, so that neither side is prejudiced and both sides can fully present their case. Before Mr. Levin takes the stand, I required that he agree to a complete interview by the prosecution, and I understand that happened.
Yes, after initially refusing to speak with us. He spoke
So-
to us a few moments ago.
I also required that the person who took possession of the gun, the director in New York, that he be interviewed on tape by the people. And if Mr. Levin testifies to anything that is inconsistent with any prior statements he made to this person in New York, that the tape can be played to impeach Mr. Levin's testimony, if there is any.
I'll pose the question. Do you think prosecution was smart enough to try to essentially do exactly that and use the testimony of the man who was in possession of the prop gun versus 12? Spoiler. I ain't gonna do that to y'all. Come on, let's run this.
Also, we were trying to get from where we were, so maybe because we were moving, that's the only thing that could have stopped him from hitting us, because we were moving away from him.
Well, Relly did not chase after the three of you running and trying to assault any of you, correct?
He followed us.
Do you know the difference between following and chasing somebody?
Well, I feel like there's different ways to follow. You can follow by walking, or you can follow by running.
Was he running after you guys, chasing you at any point in time?
We didn't run, we walked around the corner.
So if you walked around the corner and Relly did not catch up to you, then you agree he was not running after you, trying to catch you, correct?
That's not true, because when we turned the corner, Relly was right next to it.
So now your testimony is that in fact Relly was chasing you down, is that correct?
I said Rel was following Hills. He was following Hills.
So when you get to the area where the second incident occurred, I want you to describe exactly what happened when the second incident began. So I want you to actually explain to us, you're walking between the first incident and the second incident, and I want you to now describe how does the second incident start?
And so we're on the same page. Can you explain to me, to yourself, where do you feel as though the second incident started?
Well, the second incident, you testified on direct, started when you get to the parking lot.
No, I know what I said, but you asked me a question. I just want to be able to answer the question efficiently.
When you get to the parking lot, that is when, in your mind, the second incident started, correct?
To me, as soon as we turn the corner.
Okay, so which corner are you describing that you turned? And I'm not going to make you just read because I know it's complicated. My question is, are you talking about when you turn the corner right where the parking lot is, where the second incident starts? You discovered at a later point in time that not only had Relly gone to the police, but that the defendant had been charged in this case, correct? And as soon as you knew that, as soon as you heard it, you knew that those charges were unfair and never happened, correct?
Correct.
Did you go to the police then?
No.
Did you call the prosecutor?
I didn't even know who the prosecutor was, so no.
So you were unable to figure out who to contact? Is that why you didn't go forward?
For one, I just didn't know, I didn't, nobody said the prosecutor wanted to speak to me, nobody said LAPD wanted to speak to me.
So listen to my question. I'm not saying whether they wanted to speak with you. This is your brother,
Okay.
who you're saying is being charged unfairly for a crime he didn't commit. and you have the evidence to prove it didn't happen.
Yes.
My question is, why didn't you come forward to tell the police and prosecutors what you knew?
Well, I don't have a particular reason, but they charged him. I guess it was going to trial. I believe I could tell my truth here. I didn't have to tell LAPD or anybody else.
Wait, you didn't have a particular reason. Wouldn't a particular reason be that your brother is facing serious charges and you are able to tell the authorities it's not true?
I've never been in a situation where you could just go to, I guess, the law and tell them this will happen and the person is innocent.
So you couldn't figure out on your own, Mr. Phillips, that you could have picked up the phone, called Rocky's lawyers, called Rocky himself, called the police, called prosecutors, and say, hey, listen, this is not true. You couldn't figure it out on your own. Is that your testimony?
I never seen that opportunity available.
At some point, you became aware that Relly had gone to the police. My question is, when did you learn that he had gone to the police?
To be honest, like I said, it had to be 2022. I'm not too sure.
So you're saying you did not know that Relly had gone to the police until sometime in 2022?
Yes.
Now, you knew for sure by April 2022 because it was being published on different websites that Relly was a snitch and a rat, correct?
No.
But you didn't know about that. What number? 22? Who's that on the left side of the screen?
Is that right?
Who's on the right side?
Barber.
Barney's another brother of yours, right?
Yes.
This is dated April 20th, 2022. You know what No Jumper is, correct?
I'm aware of what the platform is, but I'm not a supporter of No Jumper.
So let me ask you something. When's the first time that you saw this post that says, at ASAP, Barney says that ASAP Relly snitched on ASAP Rocky causing his arrest earlier this morning? When's the first time that you ended up hearing that, seeing that?
Well, this is my first time seeing this post. So,
You
you know, and Relly is not a musician, so other musicians aren't talking about Relly.
So you're telling me that these other ASAP members who you refer to as you are all brothers, correct?
Yes.
ASAP Barney is a brother, correct?
And to be honest,
Yes or no?
I haven't seen Barbie. I haven't seen it.
I have a question. When I'm asking you a question, instead of looking at me, you look over at the jury. Is there a reason why you're not looking at me when I'm asking questions and why you're looking directly at the jury?
I'm looking at everybody. I'm giving eye contact to everybody. You know?
Has anybody told you that when you answer questions, you want to turn and look at the jury? You've been directed to do that?
No, but I have answered
Most is
questions.
right, everything else is non-responsive.
Everything after no is fine.
Or it could be because he got bond. Nobody thought it was that serious and all of that. He makes some good points, but he makes some horrible points too, because the more you talk to the police without a lawyer, the worse it gets. So from how the perspective of a young man, look his color and all the stuff they done been through, you don't talk to the police. It don't matter. You let your lawyers talk to the police. So how insane would that have looked if they actually would have hired a lawyer to represent them and all that stuff? It's best that they did it this way. I know it sounds kind of crazy, and the more I think about it, it makes sense this way, that they will wait, because you don't want to essentially have them make up a story for you. Because if you see the way this prosecution is, he keeps on misleading. If he literally will ask you a question and says, well, you're saying on Sunday at 12 o'clock you were eating lunch, and then literally seconds later will turn around and say, oh shit, okay. My bad. Literally will say, well, you're saying on Monday you were eating breakfast, and then literally when they try to answer it, that's how we catch him. He keeps on trying to do, it's called a Perry Mason moment, where it's a I got you moment, and it's not landing. He seems incendiary. He seems acerbic. He seems not to know what his tone is. This is a man who is completely unaware of his surroundings, and it looks pretty bad on the state. If you are a dislikable person, and especially from these things in which we know from prior cases, the YSL case in particular, you know that if your prosecution or prosecutor literally comes off disliked, that's it. They will find the people not guilty. Because you're not believable. It doesn't seem like you're on a thirst for the truth. It's you're on a thirst just to prove your point, regardless of the mendacities and obfuscation. That doesn't matter. Come on, let's keep on going.
You asked on cross-examination if the knuckles in that picture are consistent with a punch or not. Remember being asked those questions?
Yes.
Okay. Well, if someone's punching someone on the floor and they scrape their hand or knuckles on the floor, is that consistent with that injury?
Yes.
Objection, no foundation. Call for respect.
There was no foundation for your question about the future, so it's overruled. Question answered, Captain?
Oh, lastly, you would ask about Bill's.
Yes.
What is Bill's condition right now, as far as is he, you know, being addicted?
That's the meeting.
Abstain.
Okay. You know his condition at all, as you sit here today?
I'm pretty sure he's alive and cool, and I don't know anything.
Okay, thank you.
On cross-examination, you testified that you have never had any conversation with the defendant about this incident or about prop guns, correct? You remember testifying to that?
I would object that, this is beyond the scope of the
Overruled. You testified on direct examination, you never had any conversation with the defendant about this incident or about any prop guns. You call that testimony.
I had a conversation with him only
The
the,
question.
Do you recall that testimony on direct examination?
can you repeat it?
On direct examination, you testified, on cross, excuse me, you testified you had never had any conversation with the defendant, I asked you, about either in possessing prop guns or about what happened in this incident, correct? You testified to. Do you recall that?
Yes.
A moment ago, with Mr. Catapina, when you were asked, how do you know it was the same prop gun, you said, Rocky told me that. Do you recall that?
Yes.
If you've never had a conversation with him about prop guns, and you've never had a conversation with him about this incident, then how is it that he could have told you that information in a conversation that never happened?
Judge, I object this, Mr.
His
Lee.
argument, sustained. Well,
It was also misleading, because we talked before the incident.
That's a...
stop it! Read the question.
I'll re-ask you that. Can you explain
Yes.
how it is, if you've never had a conversation with the defendant about prop guns or about the prop gun in this incident, how it is that he could have told you that it was the same prop gun in this incident that you saw in New York?
Judge, objection, misstates the witness's testimony. That's what I'm trying to say.
Honestly, I said that we spoke in Harlem about the prop gun. When I said I seen it secured under his white tee, I said that in my testimony.
You just testified a moment ago with Mr. Tacopina. You just said, he asked you, how did you know it was the same prop gun? On the night, let me finish, the night of the incident, from the one you've seen before, you said, Rocky told me. Do you recall that testimony?
I said that.
Do you recall that testimony?
Yes or no?
Yes.
And I asked you if you'd ever spoken to Rocky about prop guns, and you said no. Do you recall that testimony?
Objection.
Do you recall that testimony?
Yes.
Would you agree, Mr. Phillips, that both of those statements cannot be true?
Objection, argumentative.
Sustained.
Can you explain how it is, if you have not spoken to the defendant about prop guns at all, how it is that you had this conversation with him about prop guns?
Objection, argument states the testimony.
Well, like I said, I was at the video shoot when I first seen the prop guns. So we didn't have to have a conversation then about the prop gun. We knew it was about the set, you know. And the second time, I said that I seen him with the prop gun in New York. I didn't say we had a full-blown conversation about it, but I did say I seen him.
You actually testified, your answer was to the defense question because Rocky told me. Do you recall that answer?
Yes.
Is there a way that Rocky can tell you something without you having a conversation with him?
Objection, argument.
Sustained.
You also testified, and you referred to it as Rocky fired a warning shot, correct?
Yes.
Can you tell me, if it's a prop gun, isn't every shot, in essence, a warning shot because nothing comes out of it?
Yes.
So in essence, isn't it true, Mr. Phillips, that what happened was, is the first shot Rocky fired, he pointed the gun not directly at Relly, but he pointed it down, correct?
The first shot?
First shot was pointed down.
That's
right?
right.
Why would he need to point the gun down if it's not a real gun?
Objection, calls for speculation.
Sustained.
You testified that the defendant, during the first shot, pointed the gun down, correct?
Yes.
If the gun is not real, are you aware of why it would be necessary to point the gun down and fire a warning shot? It's not a real gun.
Sustained. These are all arguments that we made to the jury. What's the next?
I wish they would have talked to him because I think if they would have talked to him, they probably would have been like, we're perjuring the hell out of our... I mean, we're literally lying. All you would have had to say, 12 years, the blowback of the gun could have hurt him, and he wasn't trying to hurt him. That we all knew that that prop gun had enough force within it that if he got close to him, it would actually hurt him. Not to the point where it would essentially kill him, but incapacitate him in some type of way, possibly. So he didn't want to hurt him. That's all he would have had to say, bruh. And that would have blew everything up as far as all that goes. You can kind of tell, man, And it is what it is. I ain't part of ASAP Rocky crew or no shit like that. You can kind of tell it sounded like they kind of made this shit up and they all got on the phone, probably FaceTime and stuff like that. And nobody thought about this part. Well, why would you put it at the damn ground? Well, I put it at the ground because the blowback from it and the pressure that comes out, the amount of air and stuff like that, that can hurt anybody. Shit, it killed Brandon Lee. You get what I'm saying? Could have said something about firing blanks and all this shit. But then if you fire blanks, you could probably say it didn't dispense eject any cartridges, which would be bullshit because that would mean you can only shoot it once, not twice. So it's a hell of a story to tell, but essentially what they should have said was that, hey, bruh, it is what it is on that part. And I think they kind of went into the shells and stuff like that too in this part of it. I don't recall, but I'm fairly certain it's within the clips that I said that essentially they kind of alluded to it that shells came out and nobody found them. And then he kind of said that they went and they picked up the shells a little bit, but he left it ambiguous at best. So let's get on.
Yeah, that's true.
You were coming in here, shouting and speculation both.
He gets to finish the question.
Even if it's leading?
He gets to finish the question. Finish the question.
You were coming in here just to help Rocky. Would you have answered his question that yes, Rocky told you immediately after the incident that Relly was trying to extort him? Leading and speculation, Your Honor.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, you were asked about why you didn't come forward and tell the prosecutors and the detectives and with the prop gun. Are you aware that Rocky told his lawyers from the outset that it was a
Objection,
prop
that's
gun
a call for
and his lawyers
speculation.
were dealing
It's
with
an
the
improper
prosecution?
question.
Stop. It is. It calls for hearsay and it's irrelevant. The objection is sustained. Ask another question.
Told you recited an alleged incident where you were going to go to the shooting range. You went over to the defendant's house with all of your guns and magazines, that you had some drinks, and then because you drank too much, you decided you were going to leave a magazine for a gun you didn't own at the defendant's home. Did you tell the defense that during your interview?
No, not in detail like that. I didn't rehearse it with him, if that's what you're trying to say.
That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm asking, did you tell him that?
I didn't tell him in detail like that, no.
Well, do you know then how they knew to ask you about it if you never told them?
About the shit. I told him we were going to go to a shooting range.
Let me continue. Were you ever asked, sir, were you ever shown what I just showed you, those bullet points? Were you ever given that to the defense and said, hey, listen, Mr. Levin, does this accurately depict what you told us?
The first time I saw that piece of paper was this morning when you showed me.
Did they ever call you to go over your statement, to say, hey, listen, we got to turn over your statement to the prosecution. We want to make sure we have everything. Did they ever do that?
No.
You said you have knowledge and experience with firearms. Is that correct?
Yes.
You said you own numerous firearms. Is that correct?
Correct.
You are currently a resident of California, have been a resident in California for many years. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you understand there's a legal duty to register firearms in California. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you would agree that you have a history of complying with the law and registering your firearms. Is that right?
When I buy my firearms, I buy them at a licensed dealer, yes.
And you were aware, sir, before you ever took the stand today, you were aware that the Glock 43 magazine that you allegedly gave to the defendant,
I didn't give it to him. I left it at his
that you
house.
left there,
Yes.
you were aware, sir, that you did not have a registered gun that would fit that magazine, correct?
That is correct, yes.
And in fact, isn't it true, Mr. Levin, that you understood that because you did not have a registered gun that would fit that magazine, that you had to come up with a story to explain how it was that not only you left a magazine at the defendant's house without a firearm to go with it, but also why you had that magazine in the first place. Is that correct?
I didn't have to, I didn't have to come up with a story, it's the truth.
And when is it your position that you first told the defense the details that you just described about having brought that magazine over with your gun, having had the drinks, and having left it there? When did you first tell the defense about that?
Like I said, with the full I told him in August that that was my magazine at his time. The full details of that, I can't believe, I can't remember exactly when I told him the full details of the story. I don't, we didn't get into details. They just asked me about the shooting range incident and why the magazine was there.
Wait, how did they ask you about a shooting range incident when you've never told them about the shooting range?
I told you I had told them about it.
So you told them about the shooting range incident back in August of 2024.
Well, yes, I believe so.
And your testimony is that they, even though you told them about it, they didn't ask for any details. Is that correct?
In August of 24, I can't accurately remember. I don't want to misspeak, sir.
Say again?
Now, that there would be be no reason to aim the gun towards the ground because the gun can't fire anything.
Objection, speculation.
Where's the speculation?
Sustain.
On speculation?
Yes. Do you want to argue with me?
I'd like to broach.
No.
Your Honor, I'm trying to do a very important area, and I'm not understanding.
What this witness thinks is the efficacy of a prop gun versus a real gun. What his opinion is irrelevant. Go on to another
Just so
subject.
clear, I'm doing it for his credibility in front of the jury, which is relevant.
You've already touched on it enough. Go on to something else.
Do you know where that gun is today?
Specifically, no. Like I said, when I got to New York, I gave it back to him.
Well, so since you became involved, since you know about where that gun went, since you gave it back, at some point in time, did you become aware that, you know what, the fact that it's a prop gun is important in this case?
Yes.
And you understand that if it's a prop gun, the defendant cannot be guilty of the charges because it's not a real gun. You understand that, correct?
That's correct. It's a problem.
So what efforts did you make in the last 3 years to try to get that prop gun back so that you could demonstrate, hey, my brother, he didn't do this crime? Did you make any efforts?
Yeah, I asked the co-director if he had it still. He doesn't.
When did you ask him?
Specifically, I don't remember, sir.
Now, isn't it true, sir, that you testified you returned it in January of 2022?
That's correct, yes.
Did it seem strange to you that you were returning a gun?
A prop gun.
Huh?
A prop gun?
Is a prop gun a gun?
It's a prop gun.
So when I say gun, you don't need to correct me.
Okay.
When you returned the gun in January of 2022, by that time, you were aware that your friend Rocky was potentially going to be getting in some trouble as it relates to that incident, correct?
No, I was not aware of that.
So, but you certainly knew 3 months later in April, correct?
Yes, when he got arrested, I knew he was.
And you knew that day, as soon as you heard about it, you knew, oh my God, I've got information, that gun's not real, correct? You knew that day.
Yes.
Did you go get the gun?
I was in LA.
Gun, is that right?
Yes.
Did you actually try to put it inside of your Glock 42, your 380?
No, what I was trying to do is I was trying to load it, and I noticed when I put the 380 ammunition in, it was a little too small and wasn't fitting correctly.
So, Mr. Levin, if you were only using 380 ammunition, and if you're trying to put 380 ammunition, how is it that that magazine was full of 9mm ammunition?
I also own a Smith & Wesson MP9, which is 9mm. I brought both of my handguns that day, so I was loading up my Smith & Wesson magazines with 9mm, and I'm so sorry, I'm going too fast. I was loading up my Smith & Wesson magazines with 9mm, and my Glock 42 magazines with 380, so I had both ammunitions on that day.
Now, you're well aware that a Glock magazine looks nothing like a Smith & Wesson magazine, correct?
Yeah,
They
correct.
look nothing alike, correct?
That's right.
So my question is, how is it that that Glock magazine, which you thought was to hold 380 ammunition, ended up being loaded with 9mm ammunition? How did that happen?
When I realized the 380 didn't fit, I tried the 9mm in there, and it fit, and then I further inspected it and realized it was a 43 magazine.
So,
If you're not paying attention, you actually can see a 380 bullet and a 9mm bullet only got this much difference between them. I 100% either I fire some 380s out of my 9mm or I definitely fire some 9mm out of my 380. But I think it was I fired 380s out of my 9mm. I'm damn near certain that that's what it is. But either way that go, you 100% can fill the damn magazine up with clips and a 380 from a 9. Like, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. Bro, you can literally do that. It's not that far off. Like, the sizes are not that freaking far off. The prosecution today came off as arrogant, but in all candor, I don't really think they lost the case that much. Just because you are supremely arrogant and disliked doesn't mean the questions that you had were not valid. The questions that he was asking 100% were valid because it depends upon people knowing what the other person knows, and Takapina wasn't really on it on point like that. So it is what it is on that part. Will he essentially get off on this stuff? I don't know, bro. It's looking like, to me, don't be surprised. That's all I'll say. Don't be surprised if you see that it's a guilty verdict, bro. They even your boy, I can't even remember, Lou or whatever the hell his name is, the DJ, he basically kind of alluded to it a little bit that his money, 30% of that came from Rocky in the beginning it was, and I don't think that's a good look on the prosecution side because, bruh, you're trying to say, you keep on trying to get an aha like, oh, let's get to the end and say, if ASAP Rocky goes to jail, that your money would dip off, or that this is your brother and that you don't want to see him go to jail and all that crap. Who does? So you're asking a bunch of stuff that I would think upon closing that, anybody would say that. And you're in California, bruh. Let's understand something. You're better off carrying a prop gun in California, to be fair. Because, bruh, they damn near, California gun laws as far as self-defense goes is pretty stupid. The only good thing that you have is that your home gets extended to your business. So if you have a business in California, as far as firearms go, you can carry your firearms in your business. It has to be your business. I don't want none of you morons that work at Amazon and Cali to be like, oh yeah, man, Sonny Nash said we can come in here with our guns. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if you were the owner of a business, you can carry your firearm on you because that's the law. But the California way is pretty stupid. You damn near will go to jail for defending yourself out there. So yeah, hell nah. And I hope Takapina throws that in there about ridiculous cases of self-defense where it just makes sense to carry a prop gun. I'm going to be fair. Next time I go to Cali, I'm definitely bringing a damn prop gun because it just makes all the sense in the world. If ASAP Rocky is basically found guilty of having a prop gun, it's a misdemeanor. He does it 3 times, then he'll get some jail time, like 3 months or something like that, and a heavy fine. But other than that, bruh, we'll see, man. All I'm going to say is don't be surprised if they come back with a guilty verdict. Today was mainly about the prosecution crossing. That's all we care about, really, is what is not said that the prosecution or the defense can cross with. And as far as how it came off, the prosecution seemed rushed, seemed a little mean, kept on misleading. Now, if I'm in the jury box, me personally, I'm going to find him not guilty based upon the prosecution because y'all didn't do a thorough investigation. Because Takapina, the other lawyer should have said more with more emphasis that they didn't even try to contact you because that was said by the officer in the beginning. So what's the point of me doing all this crap if y'all not even reaching out? And why the hell would I reach out to the police officers any doggone ways? Because you're not going to sit up here on the phone and talk about none of these cases. You might say something stupid and your phone might be tapped. So I'm not hearing all that crap that he's trying to pull off with it. Well, why didn't you tell the police? Why the hell would I tell the police? You crazy as hell. But y'all, let me know your thoughts on this, man. Be curious to see. But subscribe to the bell, stay notified, share to keep your people aware, to get the 4K likes. If you don't leave a like, hey, well, still have a good day.